What's up, everybody? It's your boy TGK. I just got done watching WWE's WrestlePalooza, and I want to just share my thoughts on this pay-per-view or PLE, whatever the case, whatever you want to call it. Thought it was one of the biggest letdowns of the year. Anyway, let's get into it. Enough of the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. So yeah, man, WWE and ESPN finally had their first PLE after they announced that they are going to be once they collided and became a partnership. Today was the first event of many that it started with ESPN, and there's been so much talk and so much hype leading up to WrestlePalooza. I'm over here thinking, is this going to be the America new WrestleMania while Saudi Arabia and all these other countries get WrestleMania for a while? I'm thinking WrestlePalooza is going to be big, right? And going into it, it was just, I think if anything, it's going to be one of the more forgettable PLEs of the year. Just because of how much hype it had and how big of a letdown it was. For those that liked it, hey, salute to you. I'm about to share my thoughts on this damn PLE and why I thought it was just a snooze fest, bro. Look at the thumbnail. You saw the thumbnail. SnoozePaLooza. Anyway, so we start, and mind you, keep this in mind. They said that we were gonna get so many surprises at WrestlePalooza, and I count on my notes. 1, 2, 3 surprises. That's all we got. It was 3 surprises, and they technically shouldn't even have been considered surprises. But yeah, man, I don't know. Let's start it off. We start off the show with all the theatrics. Cool. It was great. The whole ESPN, WWE, I think that stuff was nice. It was actually pretty cool. I was like, all right, cool. Looks official. And then before I get into it, everything felt like a main event as opposed to a PLE. I'll get into that more in a little bit. Anyway, we start off the night with freaking Pat McAfee. I am so tired of Pat McAfee. I don't know, just he's not as captivating as he used to be. It just feels, I don't know. It probably because it's Indiana, obviously, but it's just not. It don't work no more. That was surprise number 1. Even though my buddy told me, he was like, he was expecting to be there. I was like, well, I didn't expect to see him. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena starts the night off, and just something about it felt flat. Something about Brock's entrance fell flat. Something about John Cena's entrance fell flat. Yeah, he had all the little kids running around. That was cool, but it just felt flat. That's just my early observations. It was a finisher fest. It was nothing but finishers. I think I saw about 10 F5s, 10 F attitude adjustments. It was crazy. It was all over the place. But anyway, John Cena got dominated and he lost, and kids were crying. And then Brock goes and hits him with another F5, and more kids are crying. Nothing out of it. Nothing. And then as John Cena's walking away, there was no, surprise entrance. There's no setup for another match. Like, I don't know. John Cena's retirement year has been one massive letdown. It has been, I think John Cena's retirement year has gone as horrible as you could ask for anybody's retirement year to go. Yeah, he became the champion, but in the circumstance that he became champion, it wasn't it. Anyway, we'll move on to the Usos versus The Vision. Long ass entrances. Mind you, the exits of the Brock Lesnar John Cena match, that one took forever, but long ass entrances for this tag team match. Throughout the match, I mean, it was semi entertaining. It was all right, but I really wasn't feeling the match necessarily. I couldn't get into it. But then Jey Uso somehow cuts himself as he's delivering the chair shot to Braun Breaker, and I don't know how it happened. I feel like he may have caught himself with the bottom of the chair on his eye, but you could immediately see he was bleeding, and I think that kind of changed things. That's when the match got really interesting for me. But you know that they had to end that match quickly after that. So they end the match in very horrible fashion, and that was it. It made a bad match somewhat interesting at the end, and I think it was by accident. The next thing is Stephanie McCurr versus Io Sky for the vacant women's championship, and I was looking forward to this match. And what I noticed with this whole pay-per-view is everything that felt like a Saturday night main event. The lights on the ring were a bit too bright. You could literally see shadows from the ring, the ropes on the wrestlers. Something about it was just off. The lights were too bright. There was no promos. There was no way to build heat on the crowd. Like, I don't know, man. It wasn't something about it just felt so flat tonight. Don't know what it is, And anyway, we're going into the Io Sky and Stephanie McCurr match. I'm like, finally, we're gonna get a really good match tonight, and it was a really good match. But then what I noticed is like the crowd, bro. The crowd just wasn't. Either WWE and ESPN didn't have the volume up on the crowd. Maybe the crowd did a great job in there, but it just felt so quiet. Felt so dead in there. It felt like maybe they shouldn't go to Indiana again. I don't know what it was, but the crowd didn't seem that great. They did get into the Io Sky and Stephanie match towards the end, but it is what it is. Stephanie ends up winning this match. So proud of her. So happy for her. La primera. You know what I'm saying? No, she did great, man. And Io Sky did great as well. I thought their match was, at that point, the best match of the night, right? But congrats to Stephanie McCurr and Io Sky for putting on a great match as always. Thankfully, Pat McAfee said he was leaving after that match. I was like, thank God. Maybe it was Pat McAfee was the problem. Maybe that's who the problem was. Anyway, we move forward to the CM Punk, AJ Lee, Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch match. And the crowd freaking sucked, dog. Crowd sucked ass. Anyway, the match goes, and there's a point in the match, and again, trust me, I'm skipping through here. I'm not like the other reviewers where I'm gonna break down every single second of the match. It's just your typical match. They're keeping CM Punk away from the hot tag on AJ Lee, and they did a great job with that. It got weird towards the end where if you watched the match, you knew that AJ Lee and Becky Lynch were the legal man in the match, and at some point the match started getting crazy, and CM Punk went to pin Seth Rollins, and the referee pinned it, counting 1-2. But I'm like, they're not the legal people in the match. Like, what the hell's going on? Anyway, the match continues. It goes. It's a great match. AJ Lee ends up making Becky Lynch tap out, and they win the match. However, I enjoyed the match. I think the crowd was actually into this match. It was probably the only match that we're truly into. However, AJ Lee's punches, they got to look a little more legit, man. It was just all over the place, and she did a great job for her first match back, but she's got to tighten up that punch a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just make it look a little more legit, but they did a great job. The little spots where Seth Rollins was picking up AJ Lee or, dropping her and pulling her legs, and same thing with CM Punk putting Becky Lynch in a sharpshooter. Like, it was a great match. And that was the match of the night. I don't know if it has replay value, but it was the match of the night. It was great. Then, did I even mention surprise number 2? Oh, my bad. I cannot believe I forgot about surprise number 2. Surprise number 2 was when Paul Heyman came out and announced Brock Lesnar. You know how they did the announcement for John Cena? Cool. But Paul Heyman coming out of nowhere to do Brock Lesnar's intro. That was dope, but that was what I quoted as surprise number 2. Anyway, now we're back to after the CM Punk and AJ Lee match. Surprise number 3 comes out. Undertaker. Like, what the hell he's out here for, right? He was out there and he's just having like this podcast vibe with Stephanie McMahon, who was ringside. And then I was like, what the hell is this? What is this all for? And then he announces that she's going to be the first inductee into the 2026 Hall of Fame, which much deserved. Salute to Stephanie McMahon. She definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for everything she's done for the sport of WWE and sport of entertainment. So salute to her. Round of applause. I thought that was a really nice moment, even though I thought, like, what the hell? Where are we going with this? You know, where the hell are we going with this? So now we go to the end of this pay-per-view or PLE, whatever the case may be. And at this point, I've been very underwhelmed. 4 matches so far at this point, and I'm like, there's not one that I'm like, oh, this is a great match. We get to the Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. I feel like they had a built-in excuse to drop the belt from Cody with the whole head injury. It's a good match, nothing to write home about. I feel like Cody Rhodes looked like he put on a little bit of weight. I know I'm not one to talk, but I'm just saying what I'm giving you my observation, and it like he put on a little weight. But my boy told me it was due to the movie he was shooting. However, the match ends. Cody Rhodes wins. Typical fashion. Crossroads. Nothing special. You know, Drew McIntyre hits his leg on the table and he couldn't finish it off with the Claymore, and Cody Rhodes gets the job done. But then that was it. There was no surprise at the end. Nothing. This is WrestlePalooza. This is ESPN. This is the first one that you do with ESPN, and you treated it like it was a main event. Like it was nothing. Like there was nothing of consequence at the end of this. Like if you were going to do that, you were better off putting Brock and Cena at the end. That way ESPN could run with that. But you put that title match at the end and you got nothing out of it. Like, where were all these surprises? Where was the pageantry? Don't even get me started on the stage. The stage was so lame. This is supposed to be a WrestlePalooza, and it looked like no Palooza was there. WWE, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. You're either charging too much because the crowds sound like it. Obviously, you are charging a lot. That's why the crowds sound like they sound. There's no creativity in the stages. If you do get a creative stage, it's like once or twice a year. And then you only get 5 matches and there just wasn't nothing to them, bro. I don't know what it is. I was so underwhelmed with this PLE. I expected way more. Through all of the promotion and all the hype, I expected way more for this premium live event. And it just felt like a damn Saturday night main event. Horrible. Horrible, man. I don't know where they go from here. I do not have ESPN. I will not be watching these PLEs unless I get some kind of access to it. But good luck, WWE. ESPN, I'd get my money back. I don't know, man. But that show was straight up garbage. 1 good match. 2 good matches. But it wasn't... If I were to grade it, this was a C show. Just a flat C. And the only redeeming good matches was the Stephanie McMahon and Io Sky and the CM Punk intergender match. That was it. Everything else, there was nothing. There was no big surprise. There was just nothing you could say that you could remember about this match. But I mean, about this pay-per-view. But it is what it is. Anyway, man, been your boy TGK. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this premium live event. What you agree with me on, what you disagree with me on. Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And until next time, guys, we out of here.